Okay, let's dive into this. When most of us hear the name Alexander the Great, we immediately picture the ultimate conqueror, right? We imagine this brilliant military mind just relentlessly sweeping across the map. But in this explainer, we're going to uncover a completely different side of him. We are going to look at Alexander the cultural bridge builder. We'll see exactly how his time in the sands of Egypt fundamentally altered the course of Western civilization, merging ideas and people in ways that had honestly never been done before. But seriously, think about this. How does a 24-year-old Greek guy from Macedon just roll into ancient Egypt and not only take the throne, but actually become an Egyptian god? It's an incredible, almost unbelievable transformation. But it happened. And understanding exactly how it happened sets up the absolutely fascinating journey we're about to explore together today. And the stakes here? They literally couldn't be higher. His relatively brief stay in Egypt wasn't just some quick pit stop on a military campaign. It was a pivotal turning point in human history. His short but deeply transformative reign laid the absolute groundwork for so much of the modern thought, culture, and science that you and I rely on today. Now, to figure out how he pulled this off, we kind of have to rewind just a bit. Born in 356 BC in Macedon, Alexander was actually tutored by the legendary philosopher Aristotle. So he had the intense intellect to match his military brawn. By 336 BC, he ascends the throne. Just 3 years later, in 333 BC, he absolutely crushes the mighty Persian Empire at the Battle of Issus. And that lightning-fast string of victories fast-tracks him directly to the Egyptian border by 332 BC. So here's where Alexander's actual genius kicks in, and it's a stark contrast to what came before him. Since 525 BC, the Persians had controlled Egypt with a really heavy hand. We're talking crushing taxes and total disrespect for local traditions. The Egyptian population was unhappy and yearning for a change. Enter Alexander. Instead of oppressing the locals, he presented himself as a traditional Egyptian pharaoh. The people actually welcomed him as a liberator. He actively honored their customs and even ordered the restoration of sacred sites like the vital Temple of Luxor. He didn't just conquer them, you see, he earned their deep loyalty and admiration. Part 1. The Divine Pivot. Becoming Pharaoh. Alexander was smart. He knew that to truly rule Egypt and solidify his power, he couldn't just be some foreign king with a big army. He had to weave himself into the very spiritual fabric of the nation. Which brings up a massive question. How does a king actually become a god? Well, Alexander's answer was just as bold as his battlefield tactics. He undertook a grueling, highly dangerous journey deep into the harsh, unforgiving desert. His destination? The legendary Oracle of Siwa, where he planned to consult directly with the god Amen. And the results of that trek? Absolutely legendary. The oracle proclaimed Alexander to be the son of a deity. Now, this wasn't just some spiritual pat on the back. This was ultimate political validation. This divine confirmation reinforced his claim to the throne and led directly to a spectacular coronation as pharaoh in the ancient city of Memphis. He had officially merged military might with divine right. Of course, being a god is great, but a crown is really only as secure as the borders around it, right? To consolidate this brand new divine power, he first locked down the region with a crucial victory at the Battle of Gaza in 332 BC. From there, his forces systematically rooted out and defeated the remaining Persian garrisons in the area, which secured total control over the strategically vital coastal route connecting Asia and Europe. He even launched expeditions into the Libyan desert. His divine status was now fully backed by impenetrable regional security. Part 2. The Visionary Builder, Constructing Alexandria. So, with the region totally locked down, Alexander pivots to his unparalleled physical and intellectual legacy. He chose a highly strategic spot right on the Mediterranean coast to build a city that would bear his name and forever carry his vision. And wow, what a city it was. Alexandria boasted the Pharaoh's Lighthouse, which was literally one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It was packed with grand palaces, luxurious bathhouses, and monumental temples. Under his vision, Alexandria quickly transformed into a thriving cosmopolitan hub of trade, culture, and learning. It was this massive beacon that attracted top scholars, merchants, and artists from all over the known world. 700,000. Let that number sink in for a second. That is the estimated number of scrolls held in Alexandria's great library at its peak. Can you even imagine the sheer concentration of knowledge? We are talking about the absolute cutting edge of ancient astronomy, medicine, mathematics, and philosophy, all housed in one breathtaking center of learning. Part 3. The Great Cultural Fusion. Greece meets Egypt. Now, this incredible melting pot of scholars and ideas kicks off a period we call the Hellenistic era. It was an unprecedented blending of two ancient heavyweight civilizations. See, Alexander didn't want to replace Egyptian culture with Greek culture, he wanted to weave them together. The crucial concept here is syncretism. It's defined as the blending or fusion of different ideas, beliefs, or artistic styles into a totally new hybrid identity. As the Hellenistic influence permeated Egypt, it didn't just overwrite the local traditions. Instead, it fused with them to forge something entirely new, permanently altering the course of both civilizations. And if you want a perfect example of this syncretism in action, look no further than the hybrid god Serapis. This composite deity was essentially created from scratch to unite the two cultures. It combined traditional Egyptian elements of Osiris and the bull god Apis with the majestic, commanding elements of the Greek god Zeus. It totally facilitated the assimilation of Greek settlers into Egyptian society and served as a perfect, tangible reflection of Alexander's dynamic and inclusive reign. The crazy thing is, Alexander himself didn't actually stay in Egypt very long. He departed in 331 BC to continue his military campaigns. But his grand vision, that didn't leave with him. After his death, his trusted general Ptolemy I Soter took over as governor, launching the Ptolemaic dynasty. From 323 to 30 BC, that's nearly 3 centuries, this Greco-Egyptian royal family deeply embraced the local culture and maintained this incredible hybrid identity. Part 4. An everlasting impact, shaping the modern mind. Listen, this cultural and scientific explosion of Hellenistic Egypt, it's not just some dusty ancient history. It directly connects to the modern life you're living right now. We're talking about absolute titans of human intellect who thrived in this blended culture. You have Euclid making groundbreaking strides in math, Archimedes taking massive leaps in physics and mathematics, Eratosthenes pushing the limits of astronomy, and brilliant philosophers like Plotinus and Philo of Alexandria continuing the tradition of deep intellectual inquiry. These specific geniuses made contributions that literally form the bedrock of modern Western science and philosophy. Literally, every single time you use geometry, you are interacting with their legacy. So, let's quickly trace the domino effect of Alexander's grand vision across time. First, we see the massive diffusion of Hellenistic culture throughout the entire Mediterranean world. That powerful blend of Greek and Egyptian art, science, and customs directly laid the foundation for the Roman Empire. And as Rome evolved, that very same legacy was carried forward by the Byzantine Empire. Alexander's brief time in Egypt set off a massive chain reaction that preserved and spread these ideas for centuries to come. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. How much of your own worldview was actually born in the sands of ancient Alexandria? It is totally mind-blowing to think about. Alexander the Great wasn't just a military general, he was an unparalleled cultural bridge builder. His 2,300-year-old legacy still quietly influences everything from the art we admire to the mathematics that power our modern technology today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning where the ideas